Good evening, everyone, and welcome. It is day 518, and we are rolling here, supporting Ukraine, standing with Ukraine, and doing everything that we know to do to fight for victory. Let me back that out just a touch. There we go. I had a little modification from being live with Johnny yesterday. So thank you guys for being here and all that you do already. Thank you in the live chat, all you guys chatting. I apologize for being a few minutes late. Son got home from football. You know how it is, so I blame it on him. Mertzy, welcome to new crew member. Mertzy is going to be in the news tonight. Mertzy, this is a Mertzy alert for everybody watching. Tonight, you're going to meet Mertzy. Aussie T gifting 5 memberships. Dunk on You 23. My Michael Jordan friend. Eating pizza, getting the news. Slava Ukraini. And to that, I would say, Geroim Slava, thank you for the super chat there and the 10 gifted memberships. You guys that receive the gifted memberships as well, I always see you saying thank you and all of that. So, hey, that's the kind of community we are and the community we will continue to be. Kind, generous, and doing our part to stand with Ukraine. So, guys, tonight, I thank you for continuing to share, to like, and to do everything that you do. For those of you that have won flags over the last week or so, or have been gifted them, Lady B Apiary, I see you in the chat right now. Blonde Bombsheller, Cheryl Waitley. You should be getting them within a few days. They are en route to all of you. I also want to thank the mods for helping so much. You guys are amazing. I could not do it without you. The more we're growing, it's just not possible. Here's a message coming in from Hubert. Love the NAFO there, buddy. I've almost got my aid package ready for Greg. A Starlink, 3 cat tourniquets, and some other goodies. I'm all giddy about it. Hubert, thank you so much for that. And Hubert and I have been communicating, and his working through my guys in Poland to get this stuff into Ukraine and get it in the hands of guys that need it. So thank you so much for that, Hubert. Big shout out to you. We will continue with our global support. I will tell you this, just as a precursor, we do have a new little project coming, a co-op between Professor Gerdes and myself and other communities as well, as we all labor together. We shall see. Paul, if you're in there, I'm sending you a message in WhatsApp now. Thank you. I know you're there. There. We got really a good team, and it's only getting better. So thank you guys for everything. Now, we're going to start with some good news because I had a lot of people email me and say, Greg, okay, we love you giving us the truth. We love for the translations. We love for hearing that. We get to see inside Ukraine with people like Zhenya and Pete, and then all of the collaborations between multiple communities. We just want to say thank you for that. But we know the news is tough right now, but occasionally can you try and give us some good news as well? Sure, I can. And I'm trying to make a concerted effort to not only tell the truth, but also to continue to give you guys hope and reality and good things that are happening. So I have some of that tonight. Before we do that, Petra Olson, thank you for the SCK 129, wherever it is most needed, and that is where it will go. Thank you for that so much. Okay, we're going to start tonight with some good news. Are you ready? This is a little clip of Zelenskyy being interviewed. Most of it's in English. Zelenskyy then speaks in Ukrainian, but he's translated by his professional translator. And the question is interesting, and the answer is interesting. So the question is about his presidential being in the office of president for the last 5 years. Now, guys, I'm going to warn you right now, you're going to begin to see more propaganda over the next week or so coming from all nations, but of course it originates in the Kremlin in regard to the legitimacy of the presidency of Volodymyr Zelenskyy after May the 20th, which we're now the 21st. Guys, disregard all of that. It's nothing but propaganda. Zelenskyy is the duly elected president, and during wartime, according to Article 108 he remains active, legitimate president, and additionally, Ukraine is in martial law. So when you see stuff like that, disregard it. Don't click on it. If you see a YouTube video, somebody saying, oh, Zelensky's not president, don't even waste your time. He is the president. So he speaks about that. And then pretty little interesting thing at the end he talks about as well. I think you guys will enjoy this to start. A good look at President Zelenskyy.
I think in this building, actually, anyway, somewhere around here. It's been an extraordinary 5 years for obvious reasons. How do you think you've done?
5 years, you know, that's not it yet. I'm going to continue because of the martial law, so it's difficult to assess my activities within this past 5 years. That would not be that ethical, I believe, now. And you know, somebody from the side have to be assessing my activity and how I did. That would be just, and that would be proper. I'm not going to challenge what people think, and you know, truth is always somewhere in between. And I am glad that all these challenges well, we were not turning a blind eye towards all these challenges, and I'm happy that I have a sober look and understanding. I'm happy to be a president of such a nation who didn't turn their backs towards the hazards, risks, and they were really fighting for what was close to their hearts. But this is not over, and this is not the end of the story, so I believe we need to be moving forward together till the end, the victorious end, though today some people are skeptical towards the word victory. I understand that's difficult because it takes so much time, but we are fighting for the independence of the country, not on paper, but in reality. And there is no independence without obstacles, and that's difficult. I'm sorry that these obstacles are so difficult and these challenges are so difficult. We are losing so much, but that's what we currently have. I'm proud to be the president of Ukraine. That's how I look back at these 5 years.
And you mentioned victory there, which is very interesting, because you know that there are people out there, more and more of them, saying Zelenskyy can't mean 1991 borders. He can't mean that anymore. You know, the reality is different. He's going to have to compromise. You've heard it. What do you say to those people?
Well, I don't really hear those voices.
I do, but they probably don't dare tell you.
So there's a good smile from President Zelenskyy there, and I loved his answer. I don't hear it. Listen, of course he hears it, but he's not listening. A good wartime president, and I'm proud to support his nation. He's battling a war on multiple fronts, not only a war against Russia, but a war against propaganda, a war against corruption, a war against Western wishy-washiness. I mean, I can't imagine the weight that's on his shoulders, and he's doing a phenomenal job. So kudos there to President Zelenskyy. You see his nice smile at the end. Even here in 5 years of war, I think it's really good. Now, one of the things I want to show you guys, and it was in my notes, but this right here, I can already tell you the Shaheeds are flying around. Additionally, Nikopol, if you look right at the orange down here, and I'm making it click up for you, it's being shelled with artillery. Up here, Vovchansk is being shelled with artillery, and there are urban fightings in the streets of Vovchansk right now. We're going to be talking for the majority tonight about Kharkiv, about Vovchansk. I'm going to show you video. Additionally, we're going to talk about some other voices that we probably need to be listening to during the war and recommendations. Now, speaking of recommendations, if I go back here and do that, the Bee Lady Apiary. What is a good Telegram channel to read, especially when you are back in Ukraine? Is that a question for me when I'm in Ukraine, or is that, and I know Paul will find it and push it into the queue for me, but is that for you? Thank you, Daryl Curson, for buying those 3 coffees. Let me see if I can get that message. I'm going to get it. So, lady, B lady, if you wouldn't mind putting that back in the chat, just so I know. Oh my goodness. I've had a very busy day, and you guys are going to understand why. Where's my patch? Hang on. Right there. It was there. You didn't see it. It's Mariupol patch. This is the most famous Mariupol Kaplansky or chaplains. You can see this one very, very worn, directly off the guy. We were in Donetsk region, and this is, look, let me show you the front. Mariupol. Yeah. And then see the anchor at the bottom of the cross? This is the seaport. Yeah, really good. Chaplains Battalion translated. Why am I putting Mariupol up there? That decision was easy for today because we're celebrating, well, we're not celebrating, we're remembering the 2-year anniversary of the Azovstal siege ending. We're remembering the 2 years, it's been 2 years since that ended, and it's been 2 years basically since Mariupol has fallen officially. So for that, we're going with that. Pete Brady gifted $15. Thank you for that. Oh, not for us and me. You might not be able to do a 5 p.m. B-Lady, I will definitely be live as much as possible, and I will always try to push content at 5 p.m. That actually started when I was in Ukraine, and I decided to start streaming about midnight Ukraine time, catching people in Europe that were up, and also catching early morning Australia, and then morning and midday or evening in the United States. So it kind of worked. So I've pushed this. Really, I try to be at this 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern if I'm on workout day, and today is not. So my off day. Tomorrow back at the workout, 4 p.m. Now, if you're asking, I will tell you this. If you want to read a Telegram channel, the only one that I would recommend, there are a few good ones, but I would represent TU. I would advocate. I think they do a really good job. That's Times of Ukraine. The logo is TU. I think overall they do the fairest and most accurate job, my opinion, of course. Now, guys, are you ready for this? Mercy. I know that many of us see this name in the chat, and it's a recognizable name. Mercy is a massive supporter of Ukraine. He supports through various channels. All of you, we have guys that we follow at different times, and you'll see Mercy there. That name is easy to remember. Well, guys, Mercy, his name is Howard, found me today. I was in my studio getting stuff ready earlier in the day, and my wife called and said, Greg, there is a Mercy here. A Mercy? I said, what? He showed up? Yeah, he's over here. So I go into our staff meeting, and Mercy, listen to this. Mercy is sitting at the table with our entire staff eating a free lunch. Isn't that just beautiful? So guys, it's not every day that you can see what somebody looks like. Like, I look at all of your names here and I go, man, I wonder what that person looks like. I wonder what that person looks like. I wonder what that person looks like. Well, now you guys are going to get to see tonight what Mercy looks like. Here you go. Mercy, thank you for visiting today. All right, guys, I'm sitting here today working on the update for tonight. The office calls me and goes, Greg, Mercy is over here at the staff lunch. So Mercy showed up at our staff meeting today. Guys,
hi everybody.
Here's the legendary Mercy. I'll just call him Howard, Mercy. And you guys know all of the channels. He's a huge supporter. And I'm just honored to meet him. So Mercy showing up and finding me here at my home and our staff, you can validate our work is real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're 100% legit.
This is a legit operation here, buddy. So I couldn't help it, guys. No raffle needed. Mercy, thank you for your long support of Ukraine. And Mercy's getting a flag. So you had a special raffle. You were the only one in it today, and I pulled your name. So guys, this is the beauty of supporting Ukraine. And this is just a couple of hours before the live stream tonight. And and I want to thank you. You want to say anything to the world?
I've never won anything in my life. This is great.
What's really weird is this is how small the world is. Mercy shows up, and we start to discover we know same people. I mean, very good golfing friend of mine was his father was a teacher in the same school he went to. I mean, it's all just connected. So thank you. Thank you for supporting Ukraine, and the best is yet to come.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, he even shows up on a motorcycle over there. Thank you. He's parking in the no parking zone, by the way. All right, guys, Mercy's rolling out. And of course, classic American, veteran on a classic bike. Safe
Keep your
travels.
heart out, Sekai.
Safe travels. Oh yeah, boys. There you go. So there you have it, guys. Pretty incredible there. That is so cool. Mercy on a Harley supporting Ukraine. Dunk on you. I did see your message. It was sent to me. Hopefully the mic is better now. Let's see. Patch is taken care of. We had a question come in about the prisoners. What's up with Ukrainian inmates allowed to join the war? Yes, there's already about 3,000 that have signed up for conscription. And it's not murderers, and it's not repeat offenders, and it's not rapists. It is medium to minor level prisoners who are signing up. It's typical. Nations do it. So nothing there. It's actually a net positive for Ukraine. A lot of white collar criminals are signing up as well. And yes, I'm reading the chat while I'm playing. That was a Harley Davidson Sportster. And Leslie Bowe, the certificate is coming. We're saving it. We're saving it because I'm doing the flags right now. We're trying to. Professor Gertis keeps me straight on scheduling stuff out. I've got so much stuff here, and just try to spread it out so we can always be generous and kind to you guys that are helping support Ukraine. Now, I needed to put an S in Mercy. That's a 2007 Nightster. So I did spell it wrong, but we'll be all right for that. All right, now let's keep going on this. Thank you, Mercy with an S. Now, Kharkiv, the latest on the offensive. Now, before we do that, the first thing I want to do is give you a little video and a little update, because tonight we're really not going to talk about other places on the front. I want to focus on Kharkiv. But first place, Kevin W., thank you for the 3 coffees. The first place we're going to look at tonight is Sumy. I'm going to stick by what we've been saying. Ukraine is going to have to pay attention. Is there enough stuff here to take Sumy? Absolutely not. Is there enough stuff here to cause Ukraine to have to reinforce? Absolutely. Is there enough stuff there that's causing Ukraine to have to monitor their front line? Absolutely. Is it a distraction? Yes. So we shall see, but you know, the more you keep talking about it, and when I say you, this is Ukrainians and Russians, and they keep talking about it and watching it, you know, eventually you're going to see something, but at the minimum, Ukraine is having to respond. And this is one of the leaders of the border guard, and the Ukrainian border guard is one of the units, and they're everywhere. Everything's intermixed, but Ukrainian border guards have some really strong positions in Sumy, and this is one of their spokespersons, representatives, speaking today on the news about Sumy. Here you go.
Possible, as I mentioned before, that in the Sumy direction too, at any moment, despite he doesn't have enough forces, the enemy might try to do something similar to what's happening now in the Kharkiv direction in order to stretch the front line, the line of active fighting, and thus stretch the defense lines of our country. Again, talking about Sumy, if the enemy does such actions in order to respond, we will have to reinforce this direction and use our reserves here.
So there you have it. That's the story. And to me, that's a very, very accurate story. No question. Ukraine is having to pay attention. Daryl Kerson, who bought 3 coffees a moment ago, said, "Thank you so much for your efforts on behalf of Ukraine. If I were a little younger, I would update my passport and go to Ukraine to help them in their struggle." Very, very kind. Thank you for that. Kevin W. for the guys on Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you for that. Now, Ukraine is going to have to pay attention to Sumy. That's just all that's to it. Now, we're going to come back and we're going to deal with Kharkiv in just a moment. But before we do that, I actually want to look at Belogorivka. And tonight, I'm going to give you guys a couple of landmarks. Johnny and I actually talked about Belogorivka. And Belogorivka has been absolutely smashed into oblivion. And I will show you guys where it's at. Let me give you some reference here. This is Kramatorsk. This is Chasiv Yar. And this is Belogorivka. So you can see in the same general area. So I'm going to zoom in now, and I want you to pay attention to one thing. So here's Belogorivka. A lot of the eastern side of Belogorivka is already taken, and I know it says an H, but it's a G, Belogorivka. But Belogorivka also extends into here like this. Belogorivka is, there's Belogorivka, is a mining town. This huge quarry right here, massive. And a deep quarry, Johnny looks at it all the time. What I just want you to see, and I'm just going to show you a little clip of the continual bombing of artillery, or the use of artillery on Belogorivka. It's unbelievable. Now, how do I know what I'm getting ready to show you is Belogorivka? Because this is the landmark right there, the quarry. We're going to take all questions out. This is Belogorivka. When you look at the video, look upper right, and you will see the quarry. The white quarry. That's not a cloud. That's not the lake. That's the quarry. It's that color, and you will see how it is demolished. No sound. That, my friends, is nonstop assault on Belogorivka, just bashing it into oblivion. Let's see here. Leslie Bow, I do have an email list, but that's a good idea, actually. I save everything. I don't share it. Fixed all that mess, but I save it. Goose Springsteen, thanks for the stream as always, Greg. 10 quid. Have you heard of the KHARPP Karp charity who helped to repair homes in eastern Ukraine? I hope it isn't cheeky to mention them, but they do great work on a local level. Okay, so I have seen several charities that are helping to rebuild homes, but I do not know if they were Karp or not, but you are correct, and it's not cheeky to give anybody a shout out that is helping Ukraine. So shout out to Karp charity. Thank you for sharing that. Augie, what are your thoughts? No, right here, Augie. What are your thoughts on Western allies and talks of sending troops to help with tasks that would free up Ukrainians for the front? By the way, I like your avatar, Augie. That is a cool picture. Do you have a tough night? So good morning to you. What are your thoughts? My thoughts are we should have already been in Ukraine and we should have ended the war as soon as it started. So therefore, my thoughts now are aggressive, to push. I completely believe at the minimum we should have boots on the ground in the West, freeing up logistical positions that Ukrainians are having to perform so that they can get to the front and reinforce, because Ukraine is desperate for soldiers. We'll be talking more about that toward the end of the update. So completely for it. I come from the school, and this is the first time I've seen your name. Welcome to the chat and welcome to the stream. But I am a full proponent that the way you deal with the bully is you pop him in the lip. Putin is the bully, and he only understands force. He doesn't understand negotiations. He doesn't understand chats. He doesn't care. Thank you, Buffy the Vatnik Slayer, for the 3 coffees. Appreciate that. Let me get your message there. I want to make sure I can read it. I know you have a good use for this. Yes, we do. We are rolling, even though you do not see us with a big project right now, because we're delivering the vehicles. They're in process. I know you guys trust us. It's a process. So, Augie, I am a complete proponent for a very strong approach. That's how you deal with Russia, and specifically the Kremlin. Super Chat KBG, 50 SEK. Why is Ukraine struggling with manpower issues, but Russia isn't? Russia might be 4x larger, but being on offensive also means 4x more casualties. Okay. KBG. Why is Ukraine struggling with manpower issues? I'm actually trying to think about this and not just throw you out an answer. Ukraine is struggling with manpower issues for a few reasons. Number one, they have been undersupplied by the West, and promises have not been delivered. Even Ukrainian soldiers, as I share all the time, have told their own family members, do not go to mobilization until we receive equipment. So that's a challenge. Secondly, Ukrainian soldiers are not always being paid properly the way they are supposed to. I'm going to show you a video about that. Ukraine's population in relation to Russia is not a 4x. It's closer to a 5.5 to 6x. And Russia also has brought in many, much more than people realize, foreign nationals from other nations that have been put in the meat grinder. Africans, Middle East, Nepalese, Asian, they're there and they're fighting. I was reading something today in Russian media that says, and this is coming from the new guy. I told you guys, and Professor Gerdes shared, be careful with the new guy. And the new guy I'm talking about is the replacement for Shoigu, with the economist background, the education background. He was pretty clear today. He says, listen, we're not mobilizing. We're doing typical mobilizations. We have not went into a mass mobilization. But this is what he said. If we, Russia, declare war, it's over. You will see how mobilization is done. So the rhetoric is there, the population, foreign, and then Ukraine having to deal with their supply issues. Have you heard of Estonia sending boots for logistics? Yes, I have. Kadrikas and others have talked about that. Lithuania as well is another one. It may happen. I'm not sure, though. Did you guys hear that today? And it just was coming out, so I didn't really make a slide for it or nothing, but Russia talking about re-looking at their territorial boundaries in the Baltic Sea, especially for the seafaring ways, how they bump up against Finland and Estonia and Lithuania and Latvia. I'm going to keep an eye on that. If we need to talk about it on the stream one night, we will, but there it goes. Trust you, Lindsey Rogers, $5 quid. Yes, the Ministry of Social Policy, not so much. Completely agree. At Jason Bedex from Jompy, not everyone has spare cash, but you're here supporting, and every click on that like button helps. Honestly, Jompy, thank you for that so much. You're 100% correct. I am beginning to learn about the power of the like, the power of the share, the power of tell your neighbor. And I really appreciate it, guys, because we're really trying to make a difference. We're not going anywhere. And we're going to be here until Peramoga. John Hoover, American volunteer there in Ukraine. I will not give the city he's at. He can do that if he wants, but I know where he's at. John Hoover, Greg, have you heard anything about the Russians holding civilians in Vovchansk as human shields? Very nice on the Vovchansk, John Hoover. You're becoming Ukrainian. Yes, they have been used as human shields. We're going to be talking about that a little bit closer, guys. If you remember 3 or 4 days ago, Zhenya was talking very clearly that Vovchansk has the potential to become Bucha 2. And I'm going to tell you guys, Zhenya's still recovering. He's having a tough day today with his knee. We talked earlier. I'll be honest with you, and I know he's my buddy for 25 years, and we partner in this. He's the president of the NGO, but I will put his knowledge up of the war against anybody. I'm telling you, anybody, inside, outside. If Zhenya tells you, you need to pay attention. He told you the last time he was on that Vovchansk could become Bucha 2. Tonight, I'm going to show you that in just a few moments, actually. Now, I want to look at Chasiv Yar, and then we're going to focus on Kharkiv. So, Chasiv Yar here. We now have Russia actually controlling this with boots on the ground on the very eastern side. And a lot of the video that has come out in regard to the destruction is actually over in here in the Borisov area. Then you have the waterway, and then you have Chasiv Yar proper. Okay. But I really want you guys to understand, Ukraine is holding here and doing a good job. Good special forces units are there, doing an amazing job. But it's really bad there. It's Bakhmut, it's Avdiivka, all wrapped up into one. And I want to show you something. So we're going to validate a location again before I show you this. So you can see, let's do it this way. You see Russia coming up through Kalinina, pushing up through Berosov, and working their way to the canal in the forest. And they're just got positions to just rip on this. Okay. Now, we've shown a lot of video from back here. But now the video is here. So I'm going to show you this location right here, right there. You see the red dot? Everybody sees the red dot. Now I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you a landmark right here. Do you see, using Johnny's map here, this radio tower? It's slanted right as I go down in the view. There, you can see the radio tower. There's a good image. You see the radio tower? Okay. There. The radio tower. And then from the radio tower, you see this field shape. You see a road coming through. You see another field here and here. This is all Chasiv Yar proper. Okay, everybody got it? Now, here's some video coming out. Chasiv Yar. Remember the radio tower. No audio. Now we're looking across the canal into Chasiv Yar. There's the radio tower on the left. Those are the fields, the road, and the melting process. Home by home by home. There's the radio tower. So that's your current update on Chasiv Yar. It will continue. Robolny, Ukraine is holding on to a piece of that. And of course, you guys know Robolny down here in the south. Let me reset that to north. But Robolny's about done. All right, I want to go up to the north now. We're going to focus here for the rest of the update, along with some other things. Let's go here. And this is Kharkiv and Vovchansk. So, as we talked about with Johnny the other day, Russia pushing in the Vovchansk, Staryutsia, Lukansky, and coming down to Lipsy. They want this line here. so they can shell Kharkiv nonstop. That's the story in a nutshell. And tonight, I'm going to give you some details on Vovchansk and give you some details on Kharkiv. Action this day, super chat. Thank you for that. With about 400 watching, let's get the likes up to 200 at least. Hit like, please. All right, now listen. We can at least get 50% likes. I'm starting to feel like GTE, did Ukraine purchase the aid they received from the USA? Ukraine has purchased some aid. The keyword some. Some has been purchased. Some has been given. Some has been put on time constraints like this for that. There's a multiplicity of ways that Ukraine has received the aid that they have. Let me see here. Let me get these super chats here. This is good. B-Lady, I have thought about this. World War II, Ukraine was part of it, and they helped the U.S. greatly. Could that be our problem? Zelenskyy said USA doesn't want Russia to win and Ukraine to lose. There is no answer for that. So here's the deal about Ukraine and Russia. The United States and Europe, until they make a solid decision that they are not worried about the results that come via Ukraine for the Kremlin and Russia, nothing will change. As long as they are concerned about trying to have Vladimir Putin maintain some type of face, Russia maintain some type of status on the world stage. Guys, I remind you of this, even though I think it's a completely illegitimate organization, a waste of billions of dollars and very valuable real estate in New York City. The United Nations is a joke. But I remind you, Russia is sitting on the Security Council in the United Nations. How can you have, this is not me, outside US, Europe, how can we have a nation, a global stabilizing nation on the G7, they're on the Security Council, how can they lose? How can we maintain face? If they lose and they're on the Security Council and we have illegitimacy in the Kremlin, then we have destabilization. They have nuclear weapons and we don't want to go there. So somehow we need to trickle Ukraine and eventually they're just going to run out of resources. Eventually we'll come to a negotiation. There will be a borderline, a demilitarized zone, and we will go forward for the future and our children and grandchildren can deal with it. That's the answer in a nutshell, what's happening. And it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Neon Merci. Yes, Baltic Sea's NATO Sea now. Any change of seaways or direct provocation towards NATO? Completely agree, but Russia working on those coordinates. UK and France, general consensus have both stated that Ukraine may use their weapons to strike Russian targets. That is correct.
Slava Ukraine.
Danny Carver, Slava Ukraine, thank you for the 5 coffees. Dunk on you 23. Have the orcs closed the gap between the 2 incursions in Kharkiv Oblast from the map? It looks like it, sir. Yes, they're gaining ground, guys. Don't believe anything you hear. They're gaining ground. You say, okay, Greg, how do you know they're gaining ground? How do you know? You talk like so confident. Because today, Zhenya talked with one of our dearest friends who is inside of Vovchansk. I cannot call his name. Cannot call his unit. He's in Vovchansk. He's not looking at some map or reading some Telegram channel. He's in Vovchansk. So my source for sharing that Vovchansk is in trouble, and yes, it is stabilized a piece, but in reality, it's going to be occupied. This is just reality. And Ukraine is preparing for that. But right now, our friends are inside Vovchansk. Zhenya talked with one today, and he says, Greg, no good in Vovchansk. So it's simple. Make sure I caught up on all of that. Thank you, guys. Here we go. All right. I'm just trying to keep up with everything. If I ever miss you, my deepest apologies. That's never intentional. There's just a lot of buttons in front of me. I should have had Mertzi stay and push some buttons for me. Would have got him really good. So Kharkiv, the latest on the offensive. Overnight, the city of Kharkiv, they're circled in the blue, and even into today, and once again, even now, as I go back, Shaheeds are still flying around. We lost a couple of regions that are not red anymore, but Kharkiv, of course, Poltava, Sumy, Chernihiv, and Donetsk. You can see where they're flying around. Kharkiv was hit very hard today inside the city, and it took some damage. It was hit in the suburbs. Here's a little bit of video from Kharkiv. These are just homes. Early this morning. When I was going to bed last night, all of this was happening. I was watching it. And at that point, critical infrastructure was hit also, and Kharkiv lost a little bit of power it had. It also lost water, and it also lost internet and communications. A lot of that has been temporarily restored, but this is what Kharkiv has been dealing with all day. The closer Russia gets to Kharkiv, the more terror will rain down on that city. This was later. I mean, how would you feel living wherever you're at and you just look out your window and you see bombs dropping and things burning? So we had an early morning attack in Kharkiv. It was a combination of drones and S-300s, and I believe there was one Iskander as well that came into Kharkiv. You can see just a couple of images there of the fire, the burning, the rescue workers doing their very best to save people and to save homes. We had 9 wounded, 7 seriously. You know, Kharkiv is becoming like Kherson every day. Now Kharkiv is on blackout. Midnight to 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. to midnight. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Did y'all see that? I took that information directly from the Kharkiv site for the power company. Listen, I'm on American time, so I don't use that, although I know it. But I've got sense enough to know that power is going to be out from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m. 0 to 7, 18 to 24. From 6 p.m. until 7 a.m. in Kharkiv, time will be out, or power will be out, and additional restrictions cannot be predicted. That was their sub note. And guys, we're just on the edge of Kharkiv coming into artillery range. That will be a big challenge. Now, let me make sure. Okay. Get some insight from President Zelenskyy on the attack when it happened. This was the Washington Post. There's 2 things in this picture I'm going to share with you. This is in regard to Kharkiv. Washington Post, Ukrainian troops Starlink connection suffered systemic failure amid Russian offensive during the 15th and the 16th. That is 100% correct, 100% verified, even beyond levels we can understand. I was told today from Zhenya through our contacts on the front in various regions that a lot of the anti-drone devices that Ukraine is using now are very ineffective against the ability of Russia to jam the jammer. It's bad. And even Zelenskyy himself said when they came across, our guys couldn't communicate. They couldn't. Drones could not fly properly. See, I personally, here's my personal gut feeling on this. We always wait. We always wait and see. But my personal gut feeling on this is just testing. It's locating defenses. It's testing new warfare tactics as far as EW. I'm not concerned about the meat grinder, and they sent guys in there to be killed, and they don't care. They don't care about that. But they're learning. They're learning. Ukraine is learning as well. But they use these little incursions to see how they can limit communications and electronics that Ukraine is using. Russia actually uses a lot more ground-connected lines, like similar to World War II. Why? Because they will work. They actually have drones on filament lines. Ukraine does as well, but not to the range that Russia has. It's a technology war, and sometimes this is what happens. If you look in the upper left, this was from the Moscow Times. Tucker Carlson launches new show on Russian TV. Guys, that's fake news, okay? Wherever you see that, it's fake news. He did not launch a television program. Rossiya 24 is using his American program and translating it into Russian. Now, I will say this. Tucker Carlson did not give them a cease and desist. It's not that he gave them permission, but by not stopping them, he is permitting them. So Tucker Carlson shows are on Channel 24. They are translated in Russian. That is a fact. But Tucker Carlson himself didn't start it. But he's letting it go. So you may have well started it, to be quite honest. Now, Kharkiv Northern update, and this is from Nemichov. And I know it looks like EV. Yeah, I see that. Lots of flags, messages about the Iranian president. Yeah, the butcher of Tehran. Yeah, that one should just be left alone and chalked up, and we move to the next chapter. But what do you do? Kharkiv Northern update. We're focusing on the north tonight. This is Nemichov. Who is Nemichov? Nemichov is the founder of Kraken. Kraken is an elite special ops force inside Ukraine. They are awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I have done a lot of work, as Zhenya has, with Kraken, especially early in the war. Kraken is fighting it right now in some very important places throughout the front lines, and they're a really good unit. You know, when you talk about Kraken or you talk about 3rd Assault Brigade, you're talking about elite units. So here comes the truth from Nemichov. And the other thing I'll tell you before I say this, okay, because I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to tell you this right now. When the war began, not now, there's no OPSEC here at all. This is 12 months old, what I'm telling you. But when the war began, or this phase of the war, let me correct that. When this phase of the war began in 2022, Kraken, their headquarters and base of operations, it's no longer there, so don't worry, was the city of Kharkiv. That is where their base of operations was, and it's been gone for over a year. Moved to a different location, of course, or I would never say it. But they know Kharkiv. They know the northern military district better than anybody. Kraken does. And Nemichov is the founder. And this is what he says. The Kharkiv region was liberated 1.5 years ago. After Russia invaded in 22, Ukraine did the counteroffensive and pushed them out. And the first line of defense began to be built only 2 to 3 months before the current Russian offensive. Think about that. You've seen the incomplete building of the defensive lines up close. I know it gets blamed on artillery and Ukraine didn't have supply and da-da-da-da-da. Guys, they had time. They had time. It was liberated 1.5 years ago, and the defensive lines were only being built over the last 2 to 3 months. Zhenya was talking about the guys that lost their life, building the lines, doing their best. Yes, over the last 2 to 3 months. Remember, Zelenskyy was changed out for Siersky. One of the major reasons, and I love Zelenskyy, great guy, ambassador to Great Britain now, very revered in Ukraine, but the defensive positions were not proper. Nobody's perfect. That was his weakness. The government, second thing, and military leaders who signed the act of accepting fortifications were removed from their positions. The question is whether they will be punished or not. So the military and governmental people that signed off that fortifications were proper have been removed. Mining, he's giving you how the military works. Mining is the responsibility of the units that stood on the border for 1.5 years and did not prepare. I completely agree. That's their job. Now, whether they were supplied with them or not, I can't answer. But the guys, and trust me, guys, when you look at the front line of this war and you look at the boundaries, and let me go to the map and show you this just so everybody's on the same page. You've got Johnny's line here, and if I add the boundary right here, the border between Russia and Ukraine, this is where the actual front line starts, as we call it, the front line. But guys, listen to me. This is all a front line, all of it. And Ukraine is everywhere, of course, on those front lines. DRG, shelling, drones, glide bombs. It's all happening here. But Ukraine's on its territory and Russia's generally on its territory. But it's a war zone. And it's these guys' responsibility on that border, the frontline units, to mine the lines. And that's what he's saying is it didn't happen properly. Third, territorial defense. This confirms President Zelenskyy. The territorial defense unit does not have enough heavy weapons. Therefore, they cannot fully conduct combat operations, which is not only offensive, but preparing their defensive lines, dropping the mines. So he then finally says, our military did well responding with what they were handed. Guys, that's a good update. That's from the founder of Kraken. It's been now, what are we, the 21st, a week or so after this current invasion. He then gives this analysis. This is why it's always best to wait. If the news story breaks, especially in Ukraine, you better wait or you're going to have egg on your face and you're going to have to back up and say, I got it wrong. Oh, this was not right. That's why I always try to wait and wait for the right person to say something. The right person is Nemichov. Believe me, he knows Kharkiv better than anybody. And he said, yeah, we had some issues, but our military did good. And yes, as well, we were not supplied properly. So guys, that's the best update that I can possibly give you into what actually happened north of Kharkiv. Now, with that said, Zelenskyy actually talks about it. Here you go, the EW.
When we were crossing our state border in the Kharkiv region, they used powerful rep systems and there was no communication between the brigades. So there were many different challenges.
There you have it. He was being interviewed there, and earlier on the same interview, they couldn't communicate. So you heard tonight from the founder of Kraken, who knows Kharkiv, and you've heard from President Vladimir Zelenskyy. Therefore, guys, that is the story of the borderline above Kharkiv. Now, we're going to take a little closer look tonight at Vovchansk. I remind you that just a few days ago, Zhenya said on here, and I could pull the video, I should have, but Mertzi was with me. No, I'm just messing, Mertzi. Thank you. Zhenya said, keep your eye on Vovchansk. It may become Bucha too. I'm going to grab those chats in just a moment. Let me do this. There are no more evacuations happening in Vovchansk. No more. Evacs were targeted. This is actually a police car that was being utilized to evacuate. It was targeted with an FPV drone. And of course, you would see police car, police light bar. They know. Evacs are targeted, so that has stopped. Zhenya said Bucha 2. So here are the official numbers as of today, and this is pictures of Bucha. And I'm going to show you guys something in a moment that's going to be telling for you. It'll be telling for you. 10,700 were evacuated from Vovchansk. 100 remain trapped. They will not be evacuated. They will live under oppression. They will live under occupation. They will not be evacuated. That's it. I'll show you some images here of Vovchansk. This is the center where the monument had an old airplane there. That's what's laying in the center there, the front of the airplane. You see the Ukrainian flag in the back, the flipped over car. It's just like Bucha. This is not 2022. This is right now. Bucha 2, as Zhenya would refer to it, Vovchansk. I've blurred this out. It's a pet rabbit. The next images I'm going to show you are why Zhenya was saying Bucha 2. I have blurred it out. Those are civilians laying there dead. This is Vovchansk. This is exactly what Zhenya was telling us that we need to be careful of. It's terrible. I want to show you something now on the map. And yeah, it's terrible, guys. I know you see the numbers where, okay, Ukraine's controlling this, controlling that. Ukraine is still there, okay? I know. We talked to the guys today. But Russia is pushing. They are moving the line. And one of the areas that nobody's paying attention to, yeah, they're coming this way. But I'm going back to what I was talking about with Johnny. The Vovchansk push. Let me zoom out a little bit. Like this. The Vovchansk assault is not for Kharkiv. No. The Lipsy push is for Kharkiv. The Vovchansk push is for this. Blind man can see it. And they want to connect and get pressure both sides, try to fill this in. And this is Kupiansk right down here. So yes, they are actually pushing this line this way, eastward, but nobody's really talking about it, paying attention to it. I mean, the mappers are, and I know Johnny does and others, but I'm just saying in general, nobody's really talking about it. But keep your eye on it because this is what is happening. Now, with that said, I want to go in and show you one thing about Vovchansk. So you guys have learned, this is Johnny's map. This is an overlay of, what does he use? Andrew Perpetua, Syriac, and Deep State, and combos them all together. And it's really good. Johnny's team, JR, do phenomenal work. So we understand that basically the red line, Russian occupied. We'll just leave it at that, the shaded red. And the other is Ukrainian controlled. But I want you guys to see something here. We'll zoom it in really good for you. It was just about that line right there. Russia has moved in and taken all of this before the green belt here. But Vovchansk also extends like this. And this is a quarry. But what I'm paying attention to is not this. not this. That's already gone. I'm really wanting to pay attention to this and what we see here. And I do have some video I'm going to show you of this part, and I'm going to prove to you where the location is. You come down off of the red line, Russia occupying here, and you come down. I'm going to do it in multiple ways. I want you to look at this little ground here, like that. And you see the road coming this way, and you see the circle there, and you see this building right there. Notice this is in the green, Ukrainian held. This is the Vovcha River coming down, and you can see this field here. All right, everybody remember that? We're going to do one more zoom on this and get a little tighter to it. I really want you to see this because I want to validate what I'm telling you. Remember this field. Remember the circle. Remember the cross line. Remember this building complex right here. Remember the straight road, the intersection, homes, and this field. All right, now you have it. It's in your mind. I know we have a brilliantly smart viewership. You notice it's there. This is what a 1,500 kilogram glide bomb does to that building. The one I just showed you on the map. I'm going to show it to you. Russia claiming that this was the headquarters for Ukraine here in Vovchansk. Have no confirmation about that whatsoever. Have no opinion. But this is not the red zone occupied. This is the Ukrainian held area and the power of this bomb. It just takes everything out. Yes, I'm getting this from Russia. Now, how do I know where it's at? Okay, so you see the straight road up at the top right of your screen. You see the field. You see the angled road. You see the little track, the road straight, the homes that are already destroyed, and the green field behind it. That's how I confirm. I took plenty of time to locate it. They're claiming this is with the headquarters building. We have no confirmation on that, but we know for sure it's done. It's just these bombs are being dropped relentlessly on Ukraine, and no air defense against them. We need the planes. We need the ability. So once again, when I come back in, you can see this was the location. 100%. Was hit right there. And you could see even these homes just started incinerating, literally just smoking. And they're already destroyed. Everything's destroyed. It's just nonstop sequential destruction. Thank you guys for hanging with me a little later today, going a little bit longer than an hour, but the update is so important because I really just desire people would understand what's happening, because Kharkiv is so important. So important. And here we see, as Zhenya called it a few days ago, Bucha 2 happening right in front of our eyes. If there's any good news here at all, it's the scale that happened in Bucha can't happen again, because Ukraine was able to successfully evacuate 10,700. That is good news. You say, well, they're losing the town. They are, but they're saving lives, and we can fight another day. It would have been horrendous beyond description if they had not risked their lives for the last 10 days, week, getting people out. And kudos to Ukraine for doing an amazing job. The last two things I want to share with you guys tonight is this, and then I'm going to get the chat. I try to give you reputable resources to listen to. One of these is Alexei Goncharenko. I highly recommend that anytime you see a video on Goncharenko and you want to know about the pulse of war, listen to him. Alexei Oleksievich Goncharenko, which means his father's name was Alexei too, is a Ukrainian politician. He's a member of the Ukrainian parliament. He's a member of the Ukrainian delegation to the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. He's the president of the PACE Committee on Migration, Refugees, and Internally Displaced Persons. In 2014, he was elected to the Verkhovna Rada. In the 2019 Ukraine parliamentary election, Goncharenko was reelected on an independent ticket, no party affiliation. In 2014, he was on Peter Poroshenko's party. But in 2019, he went independent. And he is from Odessa. He's from Odessa. His father was the former mayor of Odessa years ago. Incredible English, a brilliant, brilliant mind, and typically has his finger on the pulse of the war very well. He was being interviewed not too long ago, and he's quite often a guest on this program. Just listen to how this guy talks. I'm throwing this out here today to give you guys good resources that if you're not watching, the streamers, because there's nothing on your news, of course. If you're not watching the YouTube streamers that you trust and you've built relationship with, and we've got a great group, and we're like family. But if there's time you can't listen to them, or you're looking for another source, whenever you can find Goncharenko, or you see him being interviewed, listen to him. Here he is. I'm going to talk about him for a couple of moments here. This is his interview here recently about NATO summit. This was back when they were meeting in Vilnius. Listen how he communicates.
Welcome to the program. Your president, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who has earned great admiration for his war leadership, he genuinely has, but he says today in Vilnius that it is absurd that no time frame has been set for Ukraine to join NATO. I ask you, who is he to tell us?
He is a wartime leader. He is the leader of the nation who is really fighting for democracy, not speaking about democracy, not speaking about freedom, but fighting for it. And if Ukrainians are good enough to die for freedom and democracy, why we are not good enough to live together in the alliance of free and democratic countries?
Well, I get the argument, and you make a very strong and a very emotive point. But here's the problem. Putin is in trouble. Of that, there is little doubt. And don't you think that a big signal, if that big signal had been sent out today from Vilnius, which indeed it has not, it seems that the American reticence has won the day, wouldn't that signal, when you've got a cornered rat, if you keep provoking it, aren't we likely to get an even worse reaction? Should not. Yeah, go on.
I completely disagree with you, because I just want to remind you that Russia started the war against Ukraine when Ukraine was not a member of NATO, was not applying to become a member of NATO. And even if you will take polls of 2013, Ukrainians in majority were against joining NATO. And at this exactly moment, Putin started the war against Ukraine. So it's not about NATO. It's about just a simple fact that Putin wants to take Ukraine, as well as he wants to take Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Georgia, Moldova, to rebuild and even to make a new Berlin Wall and to divide Germany into parts and to control Eastern Germany. That's what Putin wants. I am not
defending Mr. Putin's actions in any way at all. I am just saying.
I'm happy about this.
I am just saying that the ever eastward expansion has given him a casus belli, and the European Union's designs on Ukraine have been long stated. In short, are you happy or unhappy with the outcome today?
But, Nigel, sorry again. Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia joined NATO, and Putin never attacked them. Ukraine did not join NATO and didn't want to, and Putin attacked. So it's not about expansion. It's about
I remember very well in 2014 a democratically elected leader of Ukraine being brought down in the Orange Revolution by people standing in the square in Kiev, as we then called it, waving European Union flags. All I'm saying is the ever eastward expansion has been provocative.
I mean, when it's to say that when a lady is wearing a short skirt, she's provoking a raper, but it's not. That's her right to wear any skirt she wants to, and the raper is always the raper. And
I'm sorry, I don't.
Is always the killer.
I'm talking about the historical paranoia that Russia has of ever-eastward expansion.
But this is paranoia. If this is a mad,
I know.
If they have a mad attitude, so what? Why we should play games with this?
I agree with
Russia doesn't like London. Russia is saying on propaganda.
I agree with
TV,
you that
we will
Russia is
attack London
paranoid.
and to destroy it to rubble.
Okay.
So what to do with this?
So when should Ukraine join NATO?
My answer is yesterday, but answer of NATO leaders is somewhere in the future. Today it was said that Ukraine will join NATO and the invitation will come, but nobody knows when.
No, absolutely. Zelenskyy, thank you for giving us your very, very strong opinions, as ever.
All right, so here we go. Man, I was enjoying the chat while you guys were watching that. Okay. I don't know who the Brit is, but he's a clown. Okay, first of all, he's a Russian bot. That's obvious. I know nothing about that cat, nor will I ever. I was not showing you that video to show you that clown. I was showing you Goncharenko and how he dealt with the clown. Goncharenko is not a bad guy. He is intelligent and a very good representative fighting for Ukraine. This clown interviewing him, since y'all started going about it in the chat, first of all, he called 2014 Maidan the Orange Revolution. He's an idiot, okay? Absolute idiot. The Orange Revolution was in 2008 and was not connected to Maidan at all, which happened in 2014. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. But the point being was, did you hear Goncharenko? He said, I completely disagree with you. This is what this is. This is what this is. My point being, if you're looking for a good source, from Ukraine, Goncharenko will tell you the truth. That's all I'm telling you. And here's the truth. He's going to tell you right now the truth about payment to soldiers. These are facts, guys. I'm sharing with you the truth. Goncharenko's a good guy to listen to.
Voted for the resolution and thus gave instructions to the government. The government on April 12th approved a resolution that brought in an additional payment of 70,000 UAH to those at front lines, basically to those who are directly in combat positions in trenches and in assault operations. The extra payment now should be 170,000 UAH per month, plus an allowance of 20,100 plus the tenure for rank. But it's starting now, but only to those, it's counted by the day, only those who are directly under the combat order and right on the positions, because there's a rotation. Usually they go to the position for 1 or 2 days, then there's a rotation, withdrawal, bringing in others, and this is counted directly by the day. Second, our government is in no rush. It has passed the resolution, but then there should be an order from the Ministry of Defense, because I know that there are still no orders from the Ministry of Defense. I asked this question during government question hour a week ago. I demanded it. After that, I know that certain movements have started there. We are waiting, because now, in accordance with the Cabinet of Ministers resolution, an order of the Ministry of Defense must be adopted, which will directly describe how these accruals will occur. Well, the important question here is from what date, and I believe it should be from April 1st. I'll keep a close eye on it so that the guilty don't try to abandon the military, whether starting from May 1st or any other date. Well, we're watching how this will unfold. So far, it's going rather slowly, but we need to keep pushing and resolving this issue. As of now, nobody has received these cases, 70,000 hryvnias. In essence, we have such funds in the budget for such. This decision was made by the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine. They lead the budget. If they make such a decision, it means they see funds in the budget. I can't answer this question. It should be addressed to the Prime Minister. But I'll tell you, if our budget has funds for whatever, for drums, bomb shelters, for some incomprehensible constructions, for movies and TV series, for a national telethon, etc., then why can't our budget find funds for those who are literally saving us all? Because this is about language. It's about those who...
Completely agree with Goncharenko, and I do. You guys are correct. I'm reading the chat while that's video. I'm trying to keep up with all that and see what comments are going up. I misspoke. Orange Revolution, of course, 2004, not 2008. I misspoke. I was there on the Orange Revolution in 2004, and I was on Maidan 2014 after 2 days after the snipers were there. I was there. Zhenya was there as a medic, saving people's lives, and people were dying in his arms. 2016, I was in Donetsk when it was taken. I end up at some bad places at bad times, but it's all good. So yeah, 2004. So guys, all I'm telling you is Goncharenko tells like it is. He is independent. He is very educated, very well spoken, a good representative of Ukraine, and he will tell the truth. Somebody asked earlier in the stream tonight, why was Ukraine having problem mobilizing sometimes? And I added the sometimes to be polite. Because Goncharenko just told you. The 70,000 that was agreed upon Grivna for them to be paid April the 1st has not even been paid yet. It's May the 21st. Their pay is not proper all the time. And then they have to use their pay to put fuel in their truck. They don't even have enough money sometimes to send home to their family. It's critical that these kind of messages get out. But yeah, we can build new roads in some small town that's irrelevant. We can put on major productions and television shows out of the state budget for certain things, but we can't pay our guys that are saving our lives. That's why I encourage you guys. Goncharenko is a good source. He's a good source. Nobody's ever perfect, but he's a good source. He'll give you the pulse of the war. Finally, you remember this guy, Vitaly Kim, Governor Mykolaiv? He's still the governor of Mykolaiv. This is the famous picture of Vitaly Kim. BME, I see you there. Thank you for that. Great stream. Enjoy your day. I'm going to show you this and then give you some last chats here. Make sure we're all squared away. Vitaly Kim, governor of Mykolaiv. So we had good news. We've talked about Kharkiv, showed you some video of different towns, gave you another resource for study or information from Goncharenko. And here is Vitaly Kim. This is something I'm concerned about. And this is from spending a lot of time in Ukraine. Fuel is getting ready to go up significantly. And I'm talking about gas for people to put in their cars, whether it's propane or unleaded fuel or diesel. It's going up significantly, 5 to 7 hryvnia per liter. It's significant. Secondly, the electricity tariffs going up. It will be more pressure on citizens, 5% or more, but businesses are going to be hammered. Their electric costs are going up drastically, very significantly. And now with the mobilization and the app rolling and all of this happening, don't take it from me. Listen to Vitaly Kim.
Overall, due to military risks, business doesn't recover fully, meaning if there's no business, then there's a job crisis in the region. Is that right? It means supply and demand aren't balanced, yes and no, because we have mobilization across the country. Hence, there's a significant need for jobs, but they are scarce. However, there are still available jobs. But because of reservations, people are officially scared to return to work. I'm telling the truth because this is a genuine problem. We are now attempting to shift more gender-oriented towards women because even in, let's say, a traditionally male profession, women are now being educated to meet the demand of utilities and businesses with critical infrastructure that exists. Remember, you said that the fate of a draft dodger is to hide out at home, not to stand out after May 18th. There are fewer men on the streets of Mykolaiv region, less. I don't know why, because we didn't change the order. So everything goes as it goes. We don't have squads there that are searching. It's just a planned mobilization with no excesses, in my opinion. But this is the influence of the media, the influence of the Russian Apsos there, that after May 18th, there will be a lot of words for everyone. This is not the case, but despite the fact that people play it safe, and after the 18th, there were fewer people in some common places, but I think in 2 or 3 days, everyone there will understand that nothing has changed and life in extreme traffic will resume.
So there you have Vitaly Kim. I think tonight in the end of the stream, I have been able to get translated, or the other ones in English, and share with you guys truth. I can tell you I spend a lot of time in Mykolaiv. A lot. I mean, it's a city on our route. We go through Mykolaiv. We know it well. We work with a lot of people there. I'm just validating Vitaly Kim. I've never seen a mobilization hunting crew in Mykolaiv. So he's telling the truth. I've been in Mykolaiv a lot, never seen it. I've seen it in Odessa. I've seen it in Khmelnytsky. I've seen it in Kyiv. I've seen it in Kharkiv. I've seen them out hunting, but never in Mykolaiv. So he's telling the truth. But the economy's being hit, and it's time for Rosie the Riveter to get into position. Guys, basically what this is telling us all is we're looking at World War II. We're looking at how ladies, I'm telling you, some of these infrastructure jobs, they're heavy duty with equipment, and Ukraine's at a very critical time. So our support, our unending support, our faithful support, us working together to try to tell truth, discover truth, share the load together, do our part to help, it makes the difference. It makes the difference completely. So thank you for that. Hopefully tonight's stream has been a big help for you. I did see it. Yes. Electrical, everything's going up because of Russian attacks on infrastructure. In fact, I was going to show you guys a picture today, but I didn't, just chose not to. But the reality is, Ukraine does not have one thermal or hydropower plant in all of Ukraine that has not taken at least some damage. That's a fact. We're at 407 likes. Thank you guys. Let me get to the last comments here. Andrea Schoaf, many subterranean areas of Ukraine. Is there some way to put underground generators as backup power for emergency use? They do have, but not really underground unless you're in bigger cities where they have subways and metros. But even then, these are big cities, and they do have generators, but it's a problem. Linda S., great supporter. Your opinion, U.S. Secretary of State Blinken says Ukraine free to use U.S.-made weapons to strike Russia. My opinion is I think they should be allowed to do whatever they want to do. And I would hope that Blinken and Lloyd Austin and others that are being spokespersons for the United States would continue to say that. No. And at the same time, Ukraine does it. And even the U.S. knows it and says, listen, we're going to say this, start smashing. It's like F-16s. Why are we going to tell them what we're going to do? Don't do that. Just do it. It's a war. You're fighting for your survival. Vovchansk is being leveled to the ground and people are being shot in the streets. You have the right to shoot anything you want at any target you want, military-wise. Because that's the way Ukraine is, the way normal nations are. We hit military targets, so they should be smashing it. Strategic ambiguity, absolutely. What would happen, Liz Mailer, if Ukraine shot a UK weapon in the Russian stage area in Russia? It would hit the target because it's really good. And then Vladimir Putin, probably actually Lavrov, would make a very bold statement and Russia would do nothing. You asked. I'm telling you. First of all, there would never be a nuclear. Not going to happen. Vladimir Putin loves himself too much. He wants to live. What would happen if Ukraine shot a UK weapon in Russia, staging air in Russia? Oh, we'd have a hit. And you'd have a red line from Lavrov. And then tomorrow we'd get up and do the same thing again. They're not going to do anything. This is how you have to deal with Russia, guys. I'm telling you. Paul Glosson, Europe needs to start worrying about Russian aggression. At the minimum, Paul, even if it's not military, it will be an increase in propaganda aggression, in prepping the stage for potential military aggression, as I assume you were speaking about. Mertzy, 99.99, and we're winding down here, guys. Mertzy, once again, it was an honor to have you down here today. Hope you enjoyed your lunch. Mertzy got a free lunch. I meant to give you a check for this today, but forgot because I was giddy as a schoolgirl meeting y'all. Thank you for getting the Man of the Wood patch to fish. Yes, I need to show that. It's downstairs. Mertzy donated a patch to go to fish, and I will show you guys tomorrow that patch. It's awesome. But Mertzy, thank you. And, I appreciate Mertzy coming down here. Everybody knows his name in lots of chats. Just even to validate, on the video, he says, hey, these guys are legit. Not that we need it, but it is nice to know when you're donating money and you're doing all of this that, hey, these guys are legit. He's actually a real person, and they really do have a real office and a real staff. I mean, he met everybody today, our admins, finance, communications coordinator. Mertzy was right in our staff meeting. He's a legend. So thank you, Mertzy, for that. $5, Papa Dutch. That is marvelous workers' paradise that Russia makes. That is correct, sir. Listen, you guys start talking about MAGA and Trump. Let me just tell you something. Disaster. Evil. MAGA is evil. I've got Reagan on the plate over there, guys. Don't throw me under the bus. MAGA is evil. Donald Trump is a narcissist who is so full of himself that if you stuck a pin in him, you'd need a lot of diapers because a lot of caca is going to be flying around. If the UK, Malcolm Bill's longtime supporter, say Ukraine can strike Russia with donated missiles, why have they not? I'm not sure they have not. For sure, they've been smashing Crimea, but that's Ukraine, although Russia says it's theirs. We're getting critical. I think we're going to see more of it coming. Once again, DeSade here coming through with a nice statement, although he is, I assume he's referring to governmental people because all Republicans helped make stalling of Ukraine aid possible, but this Republican didn't, so maybe all a little bit strong. I know Gertis didn't either, and many of my Republican friends didn't either. This Republican, whatever I am. Right now, I'm a Truthican. I'm a Truthican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a Truthican. But this Republican right now didn't block anything. In fact, I've spent quite a bit of time at the Ukrainian embassy meeting with senators and House of Reps to tell them my opinions, what I've seen in the war, and pushing them to pass aid and to help Ukraine until victory. So you can change that to most. Thank you, DeSade. Love you. Super Chat 20, Papa Dutch. And don't worry, guys, DeSade's my buddy. We always tit for tat. Who fights for liberty, democracy, and freedom itself should not have to pay to play. Completely agree. Papa Dutch, always flowing with wisdom and generosity. Thank you for that. Yeah, general consensus, I agree with this. The more Russia threatens with nukes, the weaker they are. They have no real military response, so they make empty threats. And general consensus, isn't that what bullies always do? You know, I was a little kid. I know I goof off with you guys when I'm in Ukraine and I tell you that I'm 6'4" and all Ukrainians are at least 7 feet tall. But the reality is, and for those of you that arrived late, here's Mertzy. All right, guys, I'm sitting here today working on the update for tonight. The office calls me and goes, Greg, Mertzy is over here at the staff lunch. So Mertzy showed up at our staff meeting today. Guys,
Hi, everybody.
here's the legendary Mertzy. I'll just call him Howard Mertzy. And you guys know all of the channels. He's a huge supporter. And I'm just honored to meet him. So Mertzy showing up and finding me here at my home and our staff, you can validate our work is real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They're 100% legit.
This is a legit operation here, buddy. So I couldn't help it, guys. No raffle needed. Mertzy, thank you for your long support of Ukraine. And Mertzy's getting a flag. So you had a special raffle. You were the only one in it today, and I pulled your name. So guys, this is the beauty of supporting Ukraine. And this is just a couple of hours before the live stream tonight. And I want to thank you. You want to say anything to the world?
I've never won anything in my life. This is great.
What's really weird is, this is how small the world is. Mertzy shows up, and we start to discover we know same people. I mean, a very good golfing friend of mine was his father was a teacher in the same school he went to. I mean, it's all just connected. So thank you. Thank you for supporting Ukraine. And the best is yet to come.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, he even shows up on a motorcycle over there.
So I'm 6'4".
Thank you.
Mertzy is 7'2".
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
I listened to the
Mertzy's
Harley
rolling
one
out.
last time.
And of course, classic American, veteran on a classic bike. Safe
Eat your
travels.
heart out, Sekai.
Safe travel. Oh yeah, boys. There you go.
I had to show it one more time, guys. It's been a pretty heavy stream. We've had a really long stream. I feel like Rick the Ukrainian now. Super chat Papa Dutch, $10. Ask yourself this: how does a cop deal with a hoodie on the street when they try to get away? That's what Russia needs to be treated like. That's correct. Keith Kane, how, with all of the satellite imagery that is shared daily with Ukraine, did no one do anything about the Kharkiv defenses? That's a great question. My only answer for that would be they didn't think Russia would come across there again. What other answer can there be? They were caught with their pants down here a little bit. And Kharkiv's going to pay for it now. Not that Kharkiv's going to be taken. They do not have enough anywhere close to even encircle Kharkiv. But they've got enough there to torment Kharkiv, to put it under siege of artillery and glide bombs and just smash it. $5, Papa Dutch. Trump's already floating in the courtroom despite a gag order. In fact, it's gagging those seated nearby. All right, guys, I want to thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's stream. The best we can say enjoyed, of course, but we're standing together for Ukraine. Thank you for being here. Huge live stream. Lots of good information. Now, I'm going to do something special as we're closing. Papa Dutch, making an executive decision, because I watch you, sir. I watch you support various channels. You know, all of us guys support each other. We can't be in every stream. We can't be watching everything, of course. We all have things and everybody's busy. But I see you quite often in many, many places, being kind and generous and donating. So I'm making an executive decision tonight, Papa Dutch. You just won a flag. You got one, Papa Dutch. Mertzy came and visited me, but you're so generous. So, Papa Dutch, go to my website, gregterry.org. It's in the description. Hit contact. Send me an email on the contact page, and with your mailing address, you're getting a flag. Thank you. It's just, enough's enough. Papa Dutch is so stinking generous. And, you know, I never want to be accused of not loving back and caring back. So Papa Dutch,
Thank you for that. And this is for you, buddy.
Slava Ukraini!
There you go, guys. You guys be blessed. We'll see you tomorrow night at 4 o'clock Eastern, because tomorrow night is next day of the training with my kids. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you. Have a good night.
Slava Ukraini!